Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
Hey, this is Dan, and I hope you're having the best day ever. Wanted to talk with you about a few things regarding basically what's going on right now. So I wanted to ask you this. This is my interesting question for you today. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're surviving whatever self-isolation you have going on. Hopefully you're abiding by the Center of Disease Control's guidelines for social distancing. Hopefully you're healthy. But more importantly, hopefully you're in an area in your life where you feel like you just have to change. You're like at that point where you just want it so bad, you don't know where to start, you don't know what to do next. And maybe this is that moment where you hear the podcast and I talk to you about change. So just really that's the whole point of the podcast and why I do this. There's some really good people out there who sit on the couch not doing too much with their life, not doing too much with their family or their employer, and they're just getting by. And it's another day to ease back into your reality of, I'm going to chill out, take it easy, I'll change tomorrow. Someday I'll do something with someone, whatever that is. And then, the next thing you know, you find yourself that someday is gone. You don't have enough time. That reality check came to me that, you know what, you're running out of time. Call it a midlife crisis, call it whatever you want. But I did something about it. And when I did something about it, I had no idea how wonderful life would be. I had no idea how much each breath I take would be important. It just wasn't another thing. I stopped taking things for granted and had a massive amount of gratitude for what I went through and what I realized when I woke up, and basically the actions I took to get where I am today. Now, there's a lot of things I could talk about. I could talk about being on psychotropic drugs, treating depression, treating bipolar, and mood stabilizers, sleeping pills, all that stuff that's out there that I was misdiagnosed with. I could talk about that. There's nothing good came out of that whatsoever. I could talk about all the times I celebrated my life and where I was at in it. And what I was able to do was, once I put the drink down, once I stopped partying, once I stopped celebrating being average and took time to do the hustle, the grind, and go to work and work on myself, the reality that happened then was magnificent. The challenges I made when I decided I had to go into rehab, not once, but twice, all the times I went into detox to clean my body out of, the poison I was putting in it, all that time, none of that was fun. But the reality is that those difficult choices that I made, a better version of myself came out. And it might not be this isn't a drug addiction podcast or an alcoholism podcast. This is a life podcast. My idea for coping with average or coping with all the bullshit in my life was basically medicating or self-medicating, or basically doing anything what everybody told me to do. I just did, so I didn't have to feel very much. I just hated being average. Furthermore, I would jump into relationships to make myself feel important. And I realized that I was the one that was adding more value to the relationship, as miserable and as average as I was. I chose a lot of the wrong people. So today's podcast is really about, what are you going to do? As I talked about in the last podcast, was about that perfect push-up. And it sounds funny, and I got a lot of crap from friends of mine who listen to the podcast. But yeah, I'll take a topic like a push-up, and I'll turn it into something motivating and inspiring. At least I'll try to. But hey, you listened. So the question is this. You could criticize me all day long about me talking about, this is to my friends out there, about doing a push-up and stuff. And wow, I've really evolved, because now I can somehow take a podcast that's about success and motivation, and now I can bring a push-up into it. But here's the question, all you tough guys out there. how many of you actually did a perfect push-up? A lot of talk out there, but hey, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting exactly what you're getting. And I didn't want to average anymore, so I decided to do stuff to get me away from it. And that's why the blueprint, I think, is so perfect, is because it causes you to be aware of where you're at. As I do this podcast now, driving home from work, as you might know, and when I get home from work, it's time for me to hit the weights. I'm tired. I don't want to hit the weights, but I know the better version of myself is if I can just take that challenge and conquer it and go through that no comfort zone. I'm not going to take a minute to get comfortable and chill into the rest of the night. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to move the weights. That's what C.T. Fletcher says. It ain't going to lift itself, and it's your MF and set. That's the way it goes. And in life, it's the same thing. You could choose to be comfortable and miss out what you're missing out on, or you could actually engage and say, you know what, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk putting myself out there. I'm going to create some content today. I'm going to throw it up on YouTube, Facebook, and I'm going to commit to embarrass myself for a minute, but I'm going to commit to the long-term game plan. I'm going to do it every day for the next year. See what happens. You'll be so surprised at how you evolve and where you're going to wind up. It's kind of like me with when I got involved in the sales arena, that I don't understand how you could go into that arena and into that space of sales and be a salesperson and be average. You're saying the same things, you're doing the same things that everybody else is doing. It's the asses or masses, and you're doing it over and over again, and you think you're successful. It's not until you differentiate yourself from the pack, and also who you were, to become the better version of yourself. And the way that you do that is by educating yourself. You know, what are you going to work on today? Your knowledge, your attitude, skills, and habits. I'm working on my knowledge right now. I'm working on my habits. And yeah, right now I'm working on my attitude because I don't want to push those weights. I'm tired, but I know the end result is where I want to be. So I got to push through it. What do you need to educate yourself on if you're in sales? What do you really need to do in order for you to become better, so you don't repeat the same day over and over and over again? Because that's what everybody's doing, and that's where the comfort zone gets. I listened to something recently online about how when governments and people intertwine and there's less government and there's more of what the people want, the people work for, and there's less taxation, well, what happens is man becomes so successful. I think it was Paul Harvey back in 1965. And what happens is as people become successful, you get lazy. That's just the way it is. I am more driven now today than I was 20 years ago. I'm more driven now than I was 30 years ago. And the reason I see that is because I see the comfort levels and I see where people are at, and I just don't want to be in that space. I want to get to the next level. Yeah, and the next level's big, as it should be. Because when you get yourself out of your comfort zone after success and you keep striving for it, you keep reinventing, or as a salesperson, you keep learning new techniques, ways to communicate, ways to persuade, ways to engage, ways to add more value, which is what salesmanship is. It's not about the next cute close. It's not about being clever. It's really about what value can you offer your customer so that you can get them to the next level as well. And I find it absolutely fascinating that as we evolve as a society, we do rely more on government. It's a shame. We do rely more on what other people do in the workforce. And we also rely heavily on what our families do for us. You know, the enabling and everything that goes along with it. I think right now, if you're listening to this podcast, now's a good time for you to write out your goals and decide, this is what I want out of my life, and I'm not willing to accept anything else. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for it all. And today's April 6th. You're never going to have another April 6th, 2020, ever again. You're in adversity. You're out of adversity. You're getting ready to go into it, like I always say. But one thing's for certain, in the next 15 minutes, you could 100% accomplish too the things that you're willing to do in your life to get to the next level. You also can write down the things that you're not willing to tolerate anymore and what you're not willing to accept anymore. You can write that down right now. Hit the pause button, put the phone down, sit down, grab a sheet of paper, old school, or type something in a computer that you can see when you go to bed, that you can see when you wake up. Write out your goals and then take one step towards those goals. Then take another step towards your goals. Keep taking steps towards your goals, and what will happen, you're going to take enough steps. Guess what you got? You got momentum. And if you need to figure out what exactly it is you want in life, or you need the fuel to motivate you to get you to the next level, go to the No Comfort Zone and download the blueprint. You're going to find a lot of information there about yourself. I'll walk you through the blueprint if you need a power call. I'll just sit there, we'll go over your problems, go over your solutions, go over what the game plan is. I'll walk you right through the blueprint. Then you'll have skills. Then you can't blame anybody anymore for why you're average or where you're at in life. It's all on you. And most people are afraid to take that step, to go to the blueprint, to download it, to make the call, because what ends up happening is, and by the way, I'll call you, you just schedule it. What ends up happening is you're going to have to deal with yourself, because now you can run, but you can't hide from yourself. And that, my friends, is living outside of your comfort zone. So do me a favor, hit me up, Dan at the No Comfort Zone. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know about content. I'll get back to the leaders in action, but more importantly, hit me up to let me know how you're doing. That's the most important thing. And when you take action and you keep doing things a little bit different, guess what you get? You get to live outside of your comfort zone and start living on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at No Comfort Zone 1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.